All right, let's talk about Mr. Rogers. Was Mr. Rogers warning us all about the dangers of transgenderism 40 years ago? Turns out the left wing will find anything they can to be triggered by these days, including Mr. Rogers. So over the past few days, social media has been ablaze with clips of Fred Rogers doing various interviews and even just clips from his show talking about gender differences between boys and girls. And now a dead Mr. Rogers is being canceled by liberals. Pull his old shows off the air. Stop his syndication wherever it may live. Get rid of Mr. Rogers. The comments on some of these videos are astonishing online, literally. Like people calling for him to be canceled because of what he's saying here. I mean, and if you think about it, what he's saying here is perhaps even more inflammatory than what J.K. Rowling said last year when she just came out in support of single-sex spaces for women, support of somebody else's comments about it, and she supported that woman. Cancel Harry Potter. No, go out and buy Harry Potter. Go out and buy the new Hogwarts Legacy game. Like to stick it to these woke people.
I did
too. I already put my pre-order in for Hogwarts Legacy. So
yeah, I did too.
Screw you.
And it's coming out on Switch. So yeah. I'm excited.
So it's going to be a huge, it's already like one of the biggest pre-orders of all time. So it looks like, when you go woke, you go broke, right? So anyway.
Streisand effect.
Yeah. So now a dead Mr. Rogers is being canceled. So it really started with this clip that went viral on TikTok. Dr. Deborah Fauci is a funny Twitter account, and she pointed this out. But here's the clip. Here's the tweet. Trigger warning. This is the most upsetting thing that you will see all weekend. Now, this is a funny account, so she's being sarcastic. Dr. Deborah Fauci is being sarcastic here. So it starts with this old clip of beloved children's TV star Mr. Rogers of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. I watched that show endlessly when I was a kid, singing and explaining to all of us that boys are boys and girls are girls. Watch.
Boys are boys from the beginning. If you were born a boy, you stay a boy. Girls are girls right from the start. If you were born a girl, you stay a girl and grow up to be a lady. Only girls can be the mommies. Only boys can be the daddies.
Now, what's amazing is he writes all of those. He wrote all of those songs. He wrote all the music. He did all the puppetry. He did all of that. Those were his words. Constantly, regularly on public broadcasting. Like if you flipped on PBS, that's what you saw in the 60s, 70s, 80s, up until he passed. What Fred Rogers says in these videos is still the view held by most Americans. Despite the efforts of the media and Hollywood to normalize it, he's literally warning society in these videos and these clips over the years against promoting transgenderism among young children more than 40 years ago. In another clip that's angering the left, he sits down with one of my heroes, Johnny Carson, to explain gender to Johnny Carson. Watch.
Now, what's the second verse?
Boys are boys from the beginning. Girls are girls right from the start. Everybody's fancy, everybody's fine, your body's fancy, and so is mine. Because sometimes children think that they might change. They might have to change after a while. And, we laugh about that now. But it's because we had that concern when we were little.
Yeah, because you're really not sure, and you thought maybe you'd become a girl, or a girl would become a boy, right?
Exactly.
Do you hear them laughing? Like, do you hear the audience? They're like, is that crazy? Like the idea that you would just become a girl later? That crazy that you would just become a guy later? And the audience is laughing. Johnny Carson. And Fred Rogers is explaining. He's like, no, kids think that way. And what I try to teach on the show is like, no, it's okay to have those thoughts. But what we need to do is really educate you about it and teach you that it's okay to feel that way, but not to let it run rampant, because if it runs rampant, it becomes mental illness. He said that.
Well, and think about it. He was the king of make-believe. He made believe he was a girl on his own show with his puppets. There were some female puppets that he did the voice for. So he pretended like he was a girl, but he didn't become a girl because he was like,
gender reassignment surgery.
Friday.
Right.
Yeah.
So in 1969, Fred Rogers appeared before a Senate subcommittee. Now, I found this footage. I find it utterly fascinating to watch this. To speak out against cuts to public broadcasting. So in 1969, there were threats to cut public broadcasting. This comes up all the time, right? And certainly Republicans want to cut public broadcasting because like the way that it's become so woke and this sort of indoctrination of children now is incredibly troubling. And when you're paying for PBS, which is literally an extension of the deep state and the intelligence community, of course, why would we want to fund PBS if it's literally carrying out what the deep state wants us to see on the news, right? So I get that, and it constantly comes up. So here he is in 1969 talking passionately about how he worked every day to help kids work through their feelings so that it wouldn't lead to mental illness, body dysphoria, right? And not just like body dysphoria, but like things like bulimia or just like realizing your body's fine, right? Like your body's fine. So you don't have to become bulimic. You don't have to have, body dysphoria. I think that you need to then somehow get like gender reassignment surgery or something. So here he is explaining this to a Senate subcommittee. Doctors believe gender dysphoria is a form of mental illness, and he knew this. It was classified as such. And talk to psychiatrists and psychologists. It's classified as a mental illness. And it was classified then. So that's about the point at which you watch Fred Rogers. This is watching him trying to save public television from budget cuts. His speech was actually so powerful. It gave the dissenting chairman who was holding the committee, the dissenting chairman of the subcommittee, he said it gave him goosebumps because of Mr. Rogers' speech to him. Now, it's about a minute long. It's a powerful little clip, and it's for this day and age, it's so powerful to watch. The chairman of the committee wanted the cuts, and this speech changed his mind. When does that happen? Watch this.
We made 100 programs for EEN, the Eastern Educational Network, and then when the money ran out, people in Boston and Pittsburgh and Chicago all came to the fore and said, we've got to have more of this neighborhood expression of care. And this is what I give. I give an expression of care every day to each child to help him realize that he is unique. I end the program by saying, you've made this day a special day by just your being you. There's no person in the whole world like you, and I like you just the way you are. And I feel that if we in public television can only make it clear that feelings are mentionable and manageable, we will have done a great service for mental health. I think that it's much more dramatic that two men could be working out their feelings of anger. Much more dramatic than showing something of gunfire. I'm constantly concerned about what our children are seeing. And for 15 years, I have tried in this country and Canada to present what I feel is a meaningful expression of care.
Do you narrate it?
I'm the host, yes. And I do all the puppets, and I write all the music, and I write all the script.
Well, I'm supposed to be a pretty tough guy, and this is the first time I've had goosebumps for the last 2 days.
And so then he changed his mind. Isn't that amazing? I just find that utterly compelling. And so the idea that we should talk about this to prevent mental illness, have this community of care where we can, not force you off into some pharmacological solution for having your body mutilated. And boy, have we gotten so far away from that. So this compilation that just hit the internet today, or over the past 24 hours, this compilation has people's hair on fire. So I'm going to put this up. This is Fred Rogers. What's that?
I was going to just say really quick, especially Big Pharma. They're not going to like this.
Oh, no, they won't like this. I mean, this is a compilation going back to black and white. So this isn't just like something he said one time. Black and white up until retirement, he was saying the same thing on public television about children and boys and girls. That's it. Watch.
Boys are boys from the beginning. If you were born a boy, you stay a boy. Girls are girls right from the start. When you're born a girl baby, you grow up to be a bigger girl and then a woman. Everybody's fancy. Everybody's fine. Your body's fancy, and so is mine. Only girls can grow up to be the mummies. Only boys can grow up to be the daddies. Everybody's fancy. Everybody's fine. Your body's fancy, and so is mine. I think you're a special person. And I like your ins and outsides. Everybody's fancy, everybody's fine. Your body's fancy, and so is mine.
I don't know. Powerful stuff. It's amazing. That's what public television used to be in the United States, but it's gone quite afoul of that. Please share this segment out. We will clip this segment up so it's available. Please share it out. Put it online, get it out there, get this message out there. I think it's so particularly interesting to watch him talk about mental illness specifically in that Senate subcommittee hearing. And also on Johnny Carson to talk about that and hear the audience sort of laughing about this idea that you can just like switch genders. Like it's just something that you can do, like changing a sweater, like a Mr. Rogers sweater and sneakers. So please share that out and please subscribe to the channel. We do this show live every day at 4 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you guys so much for being a part of our great community here. And much love to all of you. Great to see everyone here in the chat. All of you guys. I'm seeing everyone here. And all of you folks over on Rumble, we had 20,000 of you on Rumble. Please hit that join button. There's a big red button if you'd like to support independent journalism. And actually, for the price of a cup of coffee once a month, if you want to support our community, you can do that by becoming a Redacted Rebel VIP. Just click that join button, join our locals community, and there you go. And some black belt lawyer in our chat on Rumble says, I got goosebumps as well. I've watched that clip now so many times, and I get like kind of choked up about it. I don't know. It's just so crazy how far we've come from that time. That was my childhood when I was watching Mr. Rogers, and it's crazy.
Same.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh girl.
He covered some pretty controversial stuff, like, for what he was. I mean,
yeah, there's a lot of stuff that he did for race. And so, yeah. Anyway. So that's got people's hairs on fire. Thank you so much for watching this segment here at Redacted. We are live every day at 4 p.m. Eastern time, trying to share the stories that the mainstream media will not cover. You should also come over and join our community of Redacted Rebels over at redacted.inc. That's our private locals community where we can share exclusive content that we simply cannot share here on YouTube. Come over and join the rebellion together right now by going to redacted.inc. We'll see you next time.